Mousam. Hi, my name is Augustine. I'm the editor-in-chief for the Cyber Express. To our readers, and you're watching the newest edition of the Security Bill. Today we have Mousam Khatri. He is the Counsellor at CII. He's a cybersecurity professional with a diverse experience spanning from cybersecurity, information security, data privacy, cloud security, payment security, vulnerability assessment, and several other things. He was also featured in 40 under 40 cybersecurity professionals globally. So congrats to that. So please join me in welcoming Mousam to the Cyber Express.
Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity. I would like to express my views on the Cyber Express. So it's really, they have initiated their magazine and I would be happy to be part of that.
Oh, great. So delighted to have you here. So Mousam, as we can begin, I think one of the most important thing that is whenever there's a conversation about cybersecurity, it is that cybersecurity is critical and crucial to national security. And then India is also part of G20 presidency, and several other initiatives are also happening in India as such. So on that perspective, could you shed some light on how can countries collaborate towards building up cybersecurity together? And do you think they can also bring out frameworks that are critical and specific to countries?
Yeah, so especially with respect to the cybersecurity framework, still there is a gap from the global perspective, and there is a need for the common cybersecurity frameworks, especially if you talk about the national. So we have different industries. If I talk about the BFSI, we have a regulator, RBI. They have their own framework. Now coming to the IRDA. They have their own cybersecurity framework for insurance firm, and apart from that, we have like power sector and critical infrastructure. They have their own guidelines, but there is a miss in the common platform for every industry. So there's still a need for the common cybersecurity platform, which must be implemented by all the industries in the India. And it will help to maintain the basic cybersecurity hygiene, especially in terms of the recent attacks which is going on. And every year, cybercrime is increasing in India, and we must address this issue because every company, they follow multiple guidelines, multiple rules and regulations, but there is a still requirement for the common framework. And Government of India must design one common platform for cybersecurity, and there must be few basic cybersecurity controls which must be mandated for every organization. They should follow that.
Right. Okay. No, also in terms of collaboration, I'm talking about countries coming together. Probably maybe things like things like maybe HIPAA or probably NIST for being a relevant cybersecurity framework for across the country. Yeah, so something on those lines.
So right now, still like even in terms of the global adoption of a framework for cybersecurity, still is a requirement for that. And if in terms of a global adoption of a cybersecurity framework, especially countries must collaborate and design their framework, which must be applicable to in terms of all the organization, all the companies. They can design their own with respect to their regulatory requirement, or they can map up with the region wise as well, maybe for the Asia, for Europe. So still, like, there must be a single body which should rule that, which should lead the cybersecurity framework for the global. So one single body is very much required to run that, to lead that framework, and then they can manage and then they can implement in a right approach.
Okay, got it. Nicely said, nicely put forth. So adding to that, do you what are the validities of these, considering that cybersecurity regulation, adoption, and these kind of things are way different when you take up countries individually. So in that perspective, do you think probably NIST works best for the US, or probably certain particular sectors? What do you think about the effectiveness of a global uniform cybersecurity regulation?
So NIST is really a great framework for the cybersecurity, but still, it is up to the organization whether they are willing to adopt or not. But
Totally true.
there must be a framework which must be mandated maybe by the global organization. If there must be, then it will add value to other organization as well for the
Okay.
adoption. So
Okay.
and it's still like with respect to the certain, so every nation they have their own certain
Right.
which they are doing pretty well for the national security of the country. And many sites they collaborate on an annual basis, and they do a lot of stuff. They exchange their expertise for the national security, and that too from the global perspective. And
Okay.
still, this kind of engagement must happen with the global level.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Nicely put forth. So you campaign for a global cybersecurity framework, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks to know. Okay. Next question is basically one of the most redundant topics that everyone overly talks about, and it is zero trust.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
my question here is to basically add the layer of security of zero trust to smaller companies, digital native businesses. So do you think? Of course, it's not happening. But do you think there is a time period in which small and medium companies will understand the relevance of cybersecurity and why zero trust matters?
So zero trust, with respect to the principle, it's pretty much very well. Uh, Never trust, always verify. It's a
True.
concept, and it will add value to your security controls. So whenever you are doing something, whenever you are providing any request to anyone, it must be verified, and it will always enhance your security. So every organization, if I will talk about the MSME and the small companies, they must also adopt this capability. They can implement multiple ways. They can implement multiple solutions for zero trust. And with respect to the servers, network, endpoint, email, there are a lot of stuff which they require access. And every request for your network, for your servers, your email, application, database, it must be verified,
Right, right.
and they must implement the zero trust.
Okay. And what about the adoption of zero trust among smaller companies?
So a smaller company with respect to the zero trust is still they they require a lot of things from the cyber security perspective, but still there is a need because cybersecurity comes from the tools, technologies, process, and implementation with the right set of competent people.
Right.
And it's a
Wow.
combination of all that. It's a combination of all that. If you will
Great.
miss any right tool, you cannot achieve the zero trust. If you are missing with the right talent in your organization, you will miss out on something. And same for the strategy. So to implement the right set of strategy, very much required with the right set of tools, and then implementation and effectiveness is very important. So continuous assessment is very important to identify the gaps in your cybersecurity posture. And still, I can feel that for medium scale industries and small industries, there are a lot of gaps which they must address that in terms of cybersecurity.
Great. I genuinely love the way you put it across. And then yes, I also understand the fact that it is a far-fetched dream for a small industry to consider zero trust among its
Yeah.
architecture. All right. Thanks for explaining that to me. Next is about the ransomware trends. The thing is, November was probably the second busiest ransomware month of this year.
Yeah, right.
So on that front, what do you foresee for 2023? Uh, what kind of attacks do you think will evolve? And will ransomware be continue to be one of those significant cybersecurity vertical?
Right. So ransomware will be there and it will increase. The thing is that still it's like difficult to break into. If you got impacted by the ransomware, still it's difficult. At the end, you have to use your backup if you have. Otherwise, it's very difficult to decrypt the content which is encrypted by the any ransomware attack. So still there are a lot of organization. I will not name any organization, but there are many incidents happen globally, and there are many ways for the ransomware. It's still like there is a evaluation in ransomware as a service,
Right.
and still like people who are not aware much about the technology, they are not tech savvy, and they are using the ransomware as a service, and they are impacting other organization, which is really dangerous.
Okay. Right. And continue. So you foresee ransomwares continuing for the next year?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Definitely.
Any new trends in ransomware that you think might be happening? Because I think there has been a shift in the way hackers are functioning because of several compliance norms that is happening, and then the compliance norms that basically ask companies not to pay ransom, to basically discourage the habit. So do you think attackers attacking the company for whatever reason and then just focusing on now selling the data on the dark web because they know that the government is not letting them probably sell the data?
So the point is that now hackers are they are trying to sell the data on dark web, and they still parallelly they are demanding the ransom.
Right.
And it's still there is no surety they will give you a backup and give your confidential data to you.
True.
So there is no guarantee whether, because they are criminals and they are like they are misusing your data and still they are demanding. On the one hand they are selling the data on dark web, on another hand they are negotiating you with the ransom amount, and you can trust them, you cannot trust them.
Okay. Okay. So basically,
And what I noticed that after COVID, in healthcare industries especially, there is a rise in ransomware attack as well. Healthcare data, like many of the companies, are impacted by the ransomware.
right, right. I think India, the recent attack on AIMS is one classic example where the healthcare sector was significantly affected by
Yes,
a
yes.
ransomware. So added to that, now that it is also critical infrastructure, how can the government step to probably maybe increase its layers of protection on that front to basically have good policies to ensure that our hospitals are away from cyber attacks? Like, does India need something close to HIPAA?
So I think right now, so we already have like Information Technology Act in place, which is very well designed. And right now, so Government of India, they have come up with the new regulations for the personal data. And it's still like it is all about the implementation. Law is there for IT Act, and that is very much well designed. But there is a it's still like implementation point of view, I will say.
Got
Uh,
it.
so the point is regarding the implementation. So with respect to the cybersecurity, maybe you have did your testing yesterday and new vulnerability come today. So you cannot say that you are well protected, but still there's a requirement of a continuous assessment. If you are doing a testing of your infra for a half yearly basis, better to do it on a quarterly basis. And if you're doing what on a quarterly, go
But
with a
monthly.
monthly basis. So better to test your environment on a regular basis, on a, especially on a real time basis. Continuous improvement, continuous assessment, and regular monitoring is very much required nowadays for cybersecurity.
Beautifully put forth. Nicely said. Because I think that is basically, personally, we basically think that is what is being lacked in India. there is no continuous monitoring. In fact, I think for most part, the compliance norms are just a checklist of things that they have to do for the business to be running. So
Yeah.
I understand that heavy auditing and continuous monitoring, these exercise will make sure that cybersecurity is part of the ecosystem. Very well put forth, sir. Next question is a little about, I mean, probably taking it from here. I mean, we don't have enough people in cybersecurity. In fact, the shortage, cybersecurity skill gap is just continues to widen, even though there have been several conversations about it. Do you think this will eventually lead to a talent war? And what are your thoughts on how do we address this massive cybersecurity skill gap that the world is facing?
So right now, the cybersecurity skill gaps is still like this, but in days to come, so there is a way. There are multiple ways to address it, and especially if you recently UGC has come up with the syllabus for cybersecurity for UG and PG, and
Right.
they have come up with the very well established, well designed cybersecurity syllabus for that, and that too, the Indian institutes can implement in their academics. And so once undergraduate, maybe they will pass out after 3 or 4 years. So this like still like gap will reduce definitely.
Great. So basically, teaching youngsters, teaching the upcoming generation to code, to basically understand cybersecurity is the best way forward to address this
Yeah.
skill. Yeah.
So
Nicely
yeah,
put.
right now for continuous assessment, so with respect to the cybersecurity learning, so you can go for the certification. There are n number of certification. You can go and you can earn the certification. You will get a lot of good knowledge for that.
Great. Any certifications that you would want to, plug, promote that you think might be the best way forward?
So, I think recently I have prepared one list for the cybersecurity certification. There are
Oh,
100 plus certification
oh,
uh,
okay. I won't bother you then
globally,
with that.
and I will not recommend anyone. So anything from cybersecurity, it's really difficult. But I think there are many good number of certification. Anyone can adopt that.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. Now coming a little bit towards fintech technology. So basically, what's your thought on KYC compliance and capacity building? Are these one of those verticals where MSME sector can enhance their cybersecurity? Because I think they are basically marred by several online frauds.
So KYC will definitely help to detect the fraud. KYC is very much required for the MSME or any company which they're dealing with, and
Right.
especially KYC, it's like very much required for them. And it's now with respect to the capacity building is very much required for the MSME as well, because they are the organization which they are willing to become a large company, and especially something is backing behind that. These are the few things which is technology is one of that, because to compete with a large company still they may require the technology, and right set of people is one of the thing, and process oriented approach for that. And KYC definitely will help to reduce their online frauds, and it will boost their cybersecurity framework structure.
Great. Okay, probably this is the last question. A lot of companies always stress about, investing in layered security solutions. Could you
Yeah.
share your insights about the advantages of having a layered security approach?
So with respect to the layer security, it's always recommended to implement the multiple solutions, and with respect to implement, you can implement from the external ways, internal ways. If I will talk about the antivirus, maybe for EDR or XDR, I will not name the company, but let's say for example, if you have email security solution, and if your email security solution has missed any malicious attachment in your email, And still, if you have an antivirus or EDR, XDR solution in your endpoint, then your endpoint solution will detect that
Hmm.
if your security solution miss that malicious file. So, uh, layered security is very much required because something coming from outside may be malicious or may be legitimate. If you are filtering from outside through firewall, that is well enough. Maybe through your email security solution, if maybe by chance it's not detected by the solution, you can have a one more chance. You can detect via your endpoint security solutions.
Right. So the more the layers, the merrier it goes.
Yeah, so more layer, it will help you to increase your visibility for the security.
Understood. Okay. Thanks again, Mousam. Is there any other closing notes that you would want to share?
So the thing is that cybersecurity is really a complex field, and to enhance the cybersecurity controls, we must regular monitor our IT infrastructure and the entire posture of the organization. And especially if you have implemented the right side of the strategy, policies and procedures, your security solution, but it's still if you don't have a right set of skilled, competent professional, it is very difficult to uh, implement a right security posture of your organization. And especially not the least, cybersecurity awareness is all about for the people, and we must educate our people so that they will be enabler, they will help our cybersecurity posture so that we can work, we can implement, we can secure our entire posture, or it will help the business growth of the organization as well, and especially for the national security as well. Because we have to increase of the cybersecurity awareness for individual as well. Those who are not a part of the organization, but still they are using the technology. So we must aware our individuals on cyber, and they must follow the basic cybersecurity hygienes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mousam. It was an amazing conversation.